gentlemen, start your engine!
Welcome back to the Lickin' the Dirt podcast. This is our same episode 31. We got like 3 intros because this is going to be like a big video, but
yeah, we're going to have to come up with something to call this sort of episode because I feel like we're going to do multiple of these sort of half and halves.
Yeah, this is like the first time, which you'll see once this video is out, which we don't know the exact format it's going to be in yet, but there is going to be an interview in this episode. So stick around for that, an interview with Tyler Beichner talking about Western PA Sprint Speedweek. It was an awesome interview, so definitely stick around for that. We have some stuff that we want to talk about. There's been a lot going on. This isn't a this past weekend episode, but there's some things that just happened recently that warrants enough to be talked about because we haven't talked about anything so far except for interviewing Drive. There's been some stuff that has happened. Like, I think there's been like 2 or 3 races at Dog Hollow and a race.
Hasn't been much to talk about, honestly.
Yeah, the weather has been evil. And in fact, I am going to put my foot down now. Early in this show, I have a clip that'll probably come out at some point. We are blessing the skies right now. We are no longer doing this rainout deal. We are going to race starting this weekend. So there will be racing going on. We're not going to have any problems. We did this last year. It went great. So we're racing. It's just, we're racing. That's simply, it's going to happen. So
yeah.
If it doesn't, it's not going to because it's going to. So we're going to race. There was a kerfuffle that occurred in the dirt racing world over the weekend. Chase here took the trip to on my side of things, unheard of, but definitely very popular Outlaw Speedway. Where exactly is the place, Chase?
Dundee, New York. About 15 minutes from Watkins Glen.
Dundee, as in crocodile.
Yes.
And he sent me pictures. I've seen videos from stuff. Looks like an awesome place. It actually looks really cool. Chase, actually, before we get into it, go ahead and kind of talk about the experience at Outlaw before we go diving into this.
This place surprised me a lot. I was not expecting a lot because of the stories I've heard, but it surprised me. It was a very nice facility. I love the pit road. They have a built-in hot pit. You come off in turn 2 behind the wall. It's hard to describe without a picture. They have an aerial shot on their Facebook you can see that's not pinned, but it's towards the top. And come off on turn 2, and there's a wall right behind. There's a ton of pit grandstands. There's 2 sets. There's probably just as many pit grandstands as there is regular general admission grandstands. They have a bar in the pits. Honestly, it's a beautiful facility, honestly.
A bar isn't like a bar.
Like, yeah, like it's just a little bar, and then they have just like a bar, like just a little bar, and then they have a balcony up top that you can see everything from. And the seating you can see the whole track from everywhere. It was, and the dirt there, the clay there is completely different than anything around here. It's more of I haven't been to Fairbury, but I would describe it as more of that. It's a darker gray clay. It was very dusty at the beginning of the night. Like it was kind of just gritty almost. Not sandy, but just kind of, I don't know, I guess gritty, I guess would be the best way to describe it. And yeah, I thought the track's real fast. I don't know what to exactly compare the track to around here. It honestly...
That was what I was going to ask you. It was like...
It was probably the size of Lernerville. Probably a little bit bigger, but it wasn't like the size of Tri-City or anything like that. So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd say it was probably a 4/10 mile. I don't know if it was a half mile. It might have been a half mile, small half mile. But it really didn't race. Nothing that I could think about to compare it to. Like when I went to Tyler County a couple weeks ago, that was very much like Hummingbird to me. Raced very much like Hummingbird to me, except it was a lot more banking and different clay. But Outlaw was completely different than anything around here.
Yeah. I mean, and you briefly mentioned the racing. I mean, part of the kerfuffle that we're going to talk about here in this first segment has to do with the intense racing nature. I mean, we're going to talk about this. There was a situation that brewed with Brock Pinkerous and Demetrious Drellos at Outlaw Speedway. What was it? Was it the ULMS? The ULMS feature?
Yes.
And it stirred a lot of controversy. I saw news articles written about this thing in certain pages on Facebook and stuff. I mean, I saw a verified source that had like, I don't know, like 30,000 followers posting about it. So we have a video that we're going to put up to kind of summarize what happened briefly. There was some very intense racing going on. And actually, I want to leave it up to the viewers' kind of interpretation at first, but there was some intense racing going on, led into what some might consider a racing accident and a retaliation. And that's kind of what it is. So we have a video that we're going to play, and it's kind of just pieced together clips of what kind of occurred. So I'm going to go ahead and throw that up. Basically, I want to do this so we can kind of see, you can form your own opinion, because I know we probably have our opinions about it, but I think it can go a couple different ways. But here it is. Brock Pinkerous and Drellos are the leading cars. So what you just watched was the incident between Brock Pinkerous and Demetrious Drellos. Some very, very hard racing going on, and you see Brock Pinkerous slide up the track and walled Drellos. Drellos not too happy. Under yellow, hits Bam Bam, cuts his left rear tire, ending pretty much any hopes that Brock had of winning the feature that night. So I think there's a lot of different opinions formed on this. Do I think that this is a racing incident? Yeah, I do. And Brock is young, and I certainly, as a young driver myself, get in over my head sometimes trying to, when I get in racing environments that were intense, and sometimes I misjudge things. How it looks to me is they're throwing sliders on each other and they're racing really tough, and Brock goes in to 3 and 4 on the kind of the middle of the racetrack, enters low. But Drellos is on the outside. He has that kind of preferred line. I think he realized I don't think he had him cleared for a slider. Like, it wasn't there. I personally think that in that circumstance, that you could have avoided that. But I don't know if he was trying to retaliate and he was mad about something and that's why he did that, or if it was just like a misjudgment, because it very well, something like that very well could be a racing incident. I'm absolutely certain about it. Things like that can totally happen on accident. So we're not gonna come out here and be like, yeah, this was like 100% Brock's fault. Like, it's not. But I will say this: I don't think that I 100%. I disagree with the nature of it, but I understand why Drellos under yellow did what he did. Like, I do. But I understand why it happened. I don't think I wouldn't have done that, but he did it. So I don't know. Chase, what are your thoughts? Chase was there. Chase watched the whole thing. That was part of his clip that was there. Chase, you saw more of the battle than I did. How long?
Actually, that I did not see turn 1 and 2 there on the video. The video that you just showed, that was new footage to me. I had not seen that. So I'll probably have to go back and watch that. That might change my opinion here. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna lie, because if Drellos makes contact with Brock in 1 and 2 there, because it looks like he slid him in 1 and 2.
Yes.
I think I mean, let's be honest here. We know how Brock drives. He's a very aggressive driver.
Yes.
He just is. That's the way he drives. It was racing. I mean, yeah, they were both driving very aggressively. We could see that in the video. I don't know. I mean, if Drellos makes contact with Brock in 1 and 2 on the slider, then I don't know. I don't know about Drellos cutting his tire after the yellow. But if Drellos doesn't make contact with him and it's a clean slider, then yeah, I'm honestly, I understand why he did it. Now, what it does not show in the video that I did see or I did hear is after Drellos spins in 3 and 4 and the caution comes out in the second part of the video there and when the retaliation starts is when Pinkerous comes back around to Drellos and they meet each other on the front stretch. Pinkerous, as soon as he gets to Drellos, revs up the car, basically just hiya hiya, hits him with the huge rev up. And I'm not sure if any hand gestures were exchanged or anything like that, but he definitely could have. I'm not sure though, and I don't know if that's what set Drellos over the edge or not. That definitely could have been, because Drellos did not seem to be immediately retaliating. He didn't take off as soon as he spun or anything like that. He waited until Brock got back around and passed him back again. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure about that.
I know, and I know that what I would say is, like, they were racing very hard for the lead. I mean, they exchanged the position a lot. And just
Yeah,
in
this
that
is
short
for the
video-
lead with, I believe it was 5 to go.
Yeah.
And a $1,000 twin race.
Yeah, like,
And Drellos had came all the way from not the tail. He started by maybe, I want to say 7th maybe. He came out of nowhere, honestly. It was a very good race. I mean, Dave Hess took off at the beginning. Well, actually no. Mason Ziegler took off at the beginning. Didn't seem like anyone was going to catch him. Then Hess catches him about 10 laps into the race. Doesn't seem like anyone's going to catch Hess. Hess breaks at about halfway. Then Ziegler and Pinkerous battle for a good portion of the race. It was a great race. And then there's a yellow and Drellos comes out of nowhere. And then we have what we just watched.
yeah. I know that when the racing gets intense like that, it's very, very easy to become emotional when stuff like that happens. And I think it very well could have happened. And I'm sure, honestly, I saw a lot of people saying that Drellos doored Brock, and that's what kind of started this deal. If that is the case, do I think that I would have did what
I
Brock
would have
did?
done what Brock
No.
probably did.
But
Yeah, I probably would have.
I wouldn't have, but if it happened and it was a racing incident, I wouldn't be upset about it. You know what I mean? I think they were racing really hard, and it doesn't look like there's room, but it seemed like the top line was the line. And it's like, to keep up with each other and to battle each other, they're having to go in hard. They're throwing sliders, which we saw. And I honestly think that it very well could have been a racing incident. Now, what I find interesting was, like, Brock, which I wanted to include this in the video, but I honestly forgot about it. There was a live stream that came out from someone's page, and it was of Brock going to Drellos' trailer and confronting him. And I don't know really if there's a way you can pin the blame, to be honest, because I think there could have been a couple things that could have happened. So I think it wouldn't be right to pin the blame or anything. But I don't know. We know, and like Chase said, we know that Brock Pinkerous is a very aggressive driver. He's good. He's really good. And he's fast. And it's just, I'm sure that it could have been an accident. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. He would probably, the only person that knows what happened on the last, set of turns there for Drellos, the only person that knows that answer truthfully is Brock Pinkerous. So we can't sit here and speculate and be like, well, we can speculate, but we can't say for sure what happened. I know for sure that if, it happened and there might have been some contact prior, maybe, where do you draw the line? You know what I mean? Because if you got doored, where do you draw the line of, like, okay, I'm gonna rough this guy up, or I'm gonna send this guy off the track? But also, if that happens to you, where are you drawing the line of, like, okay, I'm gonna go, like, hit this guy under caution? So it's like,
exactly.
Where do all these things interline? I don't know. I think it's just two people going for the win in a very, very highly emotional thing. Has Pinkerous won a ULMS race yet?
I think so. He probably won one last year. He won the Rookie of the Year last year.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure, though.
But I'm sure he's still young, you know what I mean? He wants to win. He wants to win a lot.
And that's the thing that sucked about the situation, too, is there's 5 to go, and there was a great race for the lead. That's honestly was the worst thing about it.
Yeah. And it ended the way it did. So I think it's cool that we talked about it. Leave it up to interpretation of the viewer, I think is what we wanted to do.
Oh, and I think I'm tomorrow. I think I'm just gonna post that clip, and the caption's just gonna be pure engagement post, and we're just gonna let everybody have at it.
Yeah, it's just yeah, that'd be cool. That's our first segment here. We're gonna transition. You guys are about to hear from Tyler Beichner talk about Western PA Sprint Speedweek. It was a great interview, so yeah, check that out. Welcome back to another episode of the Lickin' the Dirt podcast. This is episode number 31, I think now. We're joined here with Mr. Tyler Beichner. Tyler, how you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing pretty good. We brought Tyler on to talk about the upcoming Western PA Sprint Speedweek coming up. This is kind of something I don't know, we've been doing a lot of stuff this year, just stuff that we haven't really done before. This is kind of another interview where it's like, we aren't actually going to talk about a driver or anything like that. We get to ask some questions and kind of look forward to the upcoming Speed Week and stuff that's coming up. So I am going to ask the first question because I think it's important to give the viewer that might not know anything about Speed Week some background or some stuff like that. But my first question is, could you explain to someone that maybe knows nothing about racing at all, or someone that's kind of getting into it, what Speed Week is and what makes it special compared to regular shows?
Yeah, so I think weekly racing across the country, we have a bunch of different divisions. I'd say the 410 sprints you can argue they're one or two, whether you like sprints or late models. But either way, premier class, they've been around in our area for 60 years, and weekly racing is great. Tracks have their individual championships to go through the year. I think we took advantage of a 5-night stretch, so we go 5 straight nights at 5 different tracks in the Western PA area. The guys are racing for more money than they typically would on a regular show, so best of both worlds, more races, more money. We just need the weather to cooperate this year.
Yeah, that seems to be everybody's struggle right now. All tracks across the board. It's been pretty crazy.
I'll jump right in on the weather aspect. I mean, so you've been promoting the Western PA Sprint Speed Week since I think 2021-ish.
Yeah.
And have you gotten all 5 nights in a single year yet?
We did. It was, let's say the third year, 2023. So the first 2 years, we got 3 of the 5 in, and we lost Wednesday and Thursday both years, which didn't really help. Not that, I would ever want to pick one show to cancel if we had to, but to know if this works, you got to know if the Wednesday and Thursday night races are going to work, if those tracks can make money. We still, small sample size because we haven't gotten any. We got 1 Wednesday in. So 2023, yeah, we got all 5 in. But other than that, 3 for 5 is our best outside of that. So it's been a struggle, been a real struggle.
Now, you mentioned about the tracks making money on the Wednesday and the Thursday and the early weeker shows. Has there been any thought to extend the Speed Week to maybe include a Tuesday show or anything like that?
I'm not going to say there hasn't been thought, and there's definitely been questions, more so from fans. I don't think from drivers. I think the drivers and teams are a little more realistic. My perspective on that is I think we're a long ways off from that being feasible for a couple different reasons. One, you need the tracks to host it and to want to host it. But you're already kind of pulling teeth trying to get those Wednesdays and Thursdays filled. Not that, Mercer and Pittsburgh don't want to be a part of it, but if both had the option, they'd rather take a weekend show. That's just the name of the game. So, adding a night is one, finding a track. It's one, now you're asking the same fans to pay for another night. This isn't like Central PA Speed Week, at least not yet. Maybe we'll get there eventually, but you're relying on those same fans to go to every show and put the money into the tickets for every show. And then you get to the drivers and teams. Now, I've seen that 1 year where we got all 5 races in. I can tell you personally, because we have a small crew, I do a lot, but we all do a lot. That 5th night, when I got home from that was enough. I was done. Every year I say I don't know if we're going to do it again, but that year especially, I was like, I don't think I could do another night. And I think a lot of the teams feel that same way too. Not just, the financial aspect of having to foot the bill for another night, but, their crew guys have to take an extra day of work off, and you're traveling up and down the road, and that's another night of laps on your motors. Not saying that we're never going to get there, but I think if we are, it's a ways off.
Yeah, there's certainly, I'm sure there's a ton of components that play into that. I'm sure it already is hard enough too, just to, like you kind of touched on, just to get everything to kind of work. I mean, putting together a 5 race, ordeal like this, I'm sure is really, really challenging as other points series and stuff like that. I'm sure it's a really tough deal to get everything on board. But I'm going to switch gears here. I wanted to ask you, Tyler, what excites you the most about Speed Week?
When it's done, when it's done and it's a success, that's probably my favorite part. To be honest, the organizational aspect as far as getting the dates to line up and that stuff, I don't mind that. I'm not good on the sponsorship side of things. I'm just really bad at asking for money, even returning sponsors. And most of our sponsors are great. They've been with me since the first year, and they've returned here in year 6. They've been with me year after year, and it's still like I have to force myself to make that phone call every year. I just struggle with that. So if anyone wants to step in and help, that'd be great on that side of things. But I love doing this for, the better part of 15, 16 years at different tracks and for different series in the Northeast. I just love the ability to put on an efficient show. So that's the joy I get out of it. Okay, we got the drivers here, whether it's, 30 cars, 35, we've gotten into the 40s a few times. Let's get the cars here. Let's get you in, get out, put on a good show, get the fans home at a decent hour, get the drivers back to the garage by midnight so they can start prepping for the next day. If we've done that, that's what I enjoy, and that's what I consider an accomplishment.
Yeah.
I'm kind of going to roll back in time a little bit here and have you talk a little bit because you definitely know more about the history of the Speed Week than me. Just talk a little bit about the history of the Speed Week. What tracks were they at? Were they at the same tracks now? How long was Speed Week back then, and what years did it run?
Yeah, so the original iteration of Western PA Speedweek didn't quite predate me. I guess the first 2 years predated me. I wasn't born yet. I had never been to any of those, though. I think 2000 was the last year it ran before we restarted it in 2021. So I would have been, 5.5 at the time. So I didn't actually get to any of those. I know my dad went to a lot of those, so that's where I kind of heard about it in the different stories. But yeah, it ran 1993 to 2000. Deal, 5 nights, Wednesday to Sunday. And they jumped around a little bit. I mean, Lernerville, always a Friday night home. Back then, Pittsburgh was the Saturday night home. And then the Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, it kind of jumped around. It started with Challenger, which is no longer around. Hickory, no longer around. Knox was the Sunday night home for the first 3 years. They recently came back for a couple years now. They're, not doing anything, no operations there. They even added Port Royal one year, which I don't know if many people know that. But that's where I think you got to be careful because, especially now with our crop of drivers, and don't get me wrong, they're great, but you start branching out too far, now you're cutting down on the amount of drivers that can do the whole week. Anyways, that was a little side note. Yeah, those first 8 years though, they jumped around. Lernerville, Pittsburgh were the core tracks, the Friday and Saturday tracks. It was all-star sanctioned at the time, so I think they paid $5,000 to win every show minimum. They were probably all $5,000 to win. But again, I know we post some things, and some of the Central PA fans get on and comment like, "Oh, that's pathetic money" or whatever, which to them it is. I get it. We're not in the same worlds at all. But there's also a reason that Western PA Speedweek disappeared after 2000 because it obviously wasn't making the money that it needed to survive. So you got to find that happy medium. So yeah, it went 1993 to 2000, that dormant for 20 years, and then I got a crazy idea during COVID, and 2021 to now, here we are.
So why did you decide to restart it?
I don't know. Initially, it was honestly a pipe dream. I just threw it out there, like, couldn't this be done? Now, I didn't think I would be the one doing it, but I had a good enough relation. I mean, I work at Sharon most weeks. I worked at Lernerville for a long time. Tri-City, I've worked off and on. Pittsburgh, I know them really well, knew the family. So I think I just floated the idea to enough of them. And it wasn't like, yeah, I mean, good luck. It was, okay, well, see what you can get together. And we're definitely interested. So I think it was just that side of things of them showing enough interest that I just kept kicking the tires. And, I didn't have this dream that we'd be doing it for 6 years. I didn't know that the first year would happen, to be honest. It just kind of fell into place. And I think I was in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. Is there a particular track or race in the Speedweek schedule that you look forward to?
Yes, Mercer, which is 0 for 4, and I haven't gotten to experience that race. So that is the race I'm most looking forward to. I've said that for a few years now. One, because, they jumped on, in fall of 2020. Yeah, we want to do a show. They gutted it out and signed up for the Wednesday night, which isn't going to be easy. None of the midweek shows are easy. None of them in general are easy. But, every year they keep signing up, and every year it rains out. And the other side of that is I grew up a couple miles from Sportsman Speedway, Knox Raceway. So my very young years were going there. I have a couple memories, but my core memories were growing up going to Mercer, probably like 8 years old, 15 years old, something like that. So, Rod George and Jamie Smith, and those are the guys I grew up watching. And sure, they're not around anymore, but those are the memories I have. And getting back there and finally getting a Speedweek race will be a good bit of nostalgia for me. So that's the one I want. Pray to God we get it this year.
Yeah.
Now you mentioned those big names and everything. What are a couple, like 3 to 5 guys that we should watch out for to contend for the Speedweek title this year?
Yeah, you've got our local guys that are going to be tough. AJ Flick, Brandon Spithaler, he had a win last year. I think he needs to put a whole week together of consistency, and he's going to be as good as anyone. It's going to be interesting who comes in, the invaders. I can never really share that. I've talked to some different guys. I hate to promote them because, the weather can flip that, and I can't blame them for not coming. But then at the same time, if we do say they come and they stay home because it looks like rain, I don't want fans getting upset at us. So, well, you lied to us to get us in and pay the ticket prices. So that's never it. So we're careful with that. It's hard to tell. I know Ricky Peterson's going to be running a lot of the shows. Ryan Smith's coming over for at least a few shows. Billy Dietrich has it on his schedule right now. I know some other guys that have showed interest in the past. It's really just all going to depend on that weather. But I'm hoping we get 5 nights. I'm hoping it's sunny all 5 days. We get good car counts, and I'm sure it'll be a good battle to the end.
Yeah, I'm sure it's kind of a hard line to toe with the weather and stuff and trying to, because I'm sure you'd want to promote if you get some cool names. But do you have a favorite memory from your time in charge of and doing stuff with Speedweek?
It's an interesting question. I definitely never thought about that, never been asked that. I would say the end of the first year, which granted we only got 3 races in, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And the car counts were good. It wasn't easy, but car counts were good. Racing was good. I think just the sense of accomplishment. Honestly, I remember when we packed up at Tri-City. I got home Sunday night. I think it was 10:30, 11, something like that. And, at the time, you should be thinking like, okay, what's next? Got to get checks written and out in the mail and all that stuff, get the press release written and points updated. But I think it just hit me like, what we just did out of nowhere, it was successful and it was pretty cool. Like, where could this go? So it's not a cool moment or a cool memory or anything, but I think that's what hit me, that like we might have something here.
Yeah, kind of the accomplishment feeling of like, yeah, that's really cool.
Now, I will say physical memory of probably, I think it was 2 years ago. 2024. We ended up, so Wednesday rained out, go figure, Mercer rained out. Went to Pittsburgh. The weather was good Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Thursday, we ended up with 39 at Pittsburgh, which blew my mind. I was hoping for about 30, and we had guys crawling out of the woodwork. We had guys from down south coming. Lance Moss had, I'm walking through the pits looking for guys, and I walked past him. I'm like, was that Danny Lasowski? And sure enough, it was. He just showed up to crew for this guy that came up and ran from North Carolina. So like little surprises like that. And then the next night going to Lernerville, I pull in at I think like 1:30 to start getting set up, and I still have the picture somewhere. There's like 14 haulers out in the parking lot. Cars rolled out, they're working, and just to see the dedication that those guys had, little things like that kind of get me to the next race and then to the next year.
Now, my last question, Tyler, is where do you hope to see Western PA Sprint Speedweek in 5 years?
5 years. That's a loaded question because you talk to a number of people and I tell them before the week is up that I'm not doing this again. So I don't know that I can give you a good picture for 5 years from now. I think my true answer is I just hope it's still going. Whether that's me or whether it's someone else, if it's still going 5 years from now, that means it's been successful for over a decade. We did our job, and hopefully, we're still making those baby steps to grow it year by year, make it bigger. I think that's the important part that a lot of people don't really think about. I don't ever want to take a step back. I don't want to have, a monster race and then the next year that disappears, or a monster point fund and then the next year that disappears. Because to me, that's regression. Not that I would ever turn money away, but I want it to be sustainable growth. And eventually, I think it can get to where it rivals some of these other speed weeks you see across the country.
I'm going to steal a question from Chase because I'm also out of questions. So, Tyler, do you have, I'm sure you have a bunch of people and sponsors that you'd like to thank. So, would you like to go ahead and take the chance to kind of thank those people?
Yeah, I should have put a list right in front of me because you hate to start naming them and then you always forget one. Two title sponsors are Schaefer Specialized Lubricants and JS Bova Excavating. They were the two that got it started. So we had, if we want to rewind to the COVID winter, so 2020 heading into 2021, we had the framework, the purses were ironed out, the tracks agreed to it, but I needed to bring something to the table, the point fund, which is all sponsor driven. And it wouldn't have happened if Schaefer Specialized Lubricants and JS Bova Excavating didn't step up and become my title and presenting sponsor. So they are the reasons that it started, and they've stuck with me every year. So I can never thank them enough. Rod Squad Fishing Charters and Classic Inc. and Mobile Bail Bonds. And I hate to start naming down because you forget so many, but they're all so important. If you go to our website, westernpaspeedweek.com, we've got a nice little tab there, sponsors. Go click that, go make a mental note and support them anytime you can, because really that's what makes it possible. You need all three sides. You need the tracks to buy in, you need the drivers and teams to support it, but you need the sponsors that foot our side of the bill and bring the point fund to it and the other contingencies that make it worthwhile. So yeah, please, if you get a chance, go to our website, check out our sponsor list. And if you can't, support them in any way possible.
Yeah. Chase and I are certainly excited to see how Speed Week pans out this year. For the viewers out there, the first night of Speed Week for this year is May 27th on Wednesday at Mercer. Their schedule is on their Facebook page. I'm sure you can find it in a bunch of other places too. Try to come out, support a show if you can. I don't think you should feel like you need to make it to them all, but I think it's definitely something you should check out at least one time if you're new to racing or you're trying to get into it. It's really a cool deal to watch the sprint cars and stuff. Tyler, thank you so much for coming on to talk about Speed Week. This was a cool interview. It's certainly a change of gears for us. So thank you so much for coming on and letting us have you and ask you some questions.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. I appreciate it.
And we're back. We hope you enjoyed that little segment, the interview with Tyler Beichner. That was a really cool interview, different for us. Now we're going to kind of end the show off by talking about some stuff that's happened so far. We haven't been able to do this past weekend episode quite literally because there's been nothing
There's
to talk
been
about.
no this past weekend.
Yeah, there's been nothing that warrants discussion until recently. So there are some things that we can talk about. We're going to talk about the ULMS point standings, which Chase will cover. Some of the notable races that we want to talk about. The Dog Hollows ran 2 races so far, and a Penn, Ohio driver so far has found success there. We'll talk about that. And then Lernerville has 1 race in, which we'll talk about. But yeah, I think we should probably, Chase, do you have the ULMS points up?
Yeah, I have them right here.
Go ahead and start off. We'll talk about those so far.
All right, so far with the United Late Model Series, we have 2 races in. Would have been last Saturday down at Tyler County Speedway. We had the Topless 50, was like the only race around that for weather-wise. I think they had like 28 cars, I want to say. And Mason Ziegler ended up picking up the win there. Trying to think of who else was on the podium. I believe John Lee was second, and I believe Colton Burdett rounded out the podium there. And then this past weekend, we were up at Outlaw Speedway in Dundee, New York, for the Ted Seary Memorial, and I think they had 19 cars for 10,000 to win. And as we discussed earlier, the situation happened, and then Mason Ziegler lucked into another win there. And John Lee ended up second once again, and I believe Greg Oakes was third, but I could be wrong there. I'm not 100% sure, but I'll run down through the point standings here. I believe they're sitting at 8 or 9 full-timers right now for the points. So I believe that's how the points go, and then they go into like the guys that have hit both races so far. So Ziegler leads both races, as you would expect, with 500 points. Then 20 points behind him is John Lee. In third is Greg Oakes. Brian Bernheisel is in fourth. Kevin Smith is in fifth. Dylan Lewis in sixth. Matt Gladden in seventh. Ken Schaefer in eighth. Levi Yetter in ninth. Routing out the podium is Brock Pinkerous in 10th.
Yeah. Chase, I think, is planning to hit like 10 all of the ULMS.
I will be at all but 3, I do believe. So
yeah.
I think 11 out of the 14 or something like that.
Yeah.
We're next race. We're off all of the rest of May and all of June, but then we have a little bit of a speed week in over the 4th of July where we go to Mercer on Wednesday, then are at Genesee for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and then we go to Erie's to finish up on Sunday.
Yeah. I think the point standings for the ULMS guys, we're probably going to follow throughout the season. I think it's just a series that we need to talk about because it's one of the bigger ones that is important to us and relevant to us. And we're still probably going to cover Penn Ohio stuff. There's nothing to cover Penn Ohio related right now as far as points go because nothing has happened. They're looking to make their first tour race, though, start here in like a week or two for the Ed Laboon, which is very exciting. I'm sure that, well, actually, we can kind of talk about that a little bit. I don't know what the actual date is. Isn't it the 23rd for the
3rd of May?
Yeah, so that's coming up. Make sure, if you're a race fan, check out the Ed Laboon Memorial. It is the biggest stock car race that we have. I mean, you could say it's the biggest. I think it is because the Stampede is obviously second, but I think that the Ed Laboon is just the biggest. And it's kind of it's one of the 2, maybe 3 crown jewels that we have.
Yeah, I'd say.
But that's coming up. It's been kind of, I don't know, who won it last year? Was it Schneider?
Yes.
Yeah,
Schneider won it last year.
He's kind of been the guy to beat at Pittsburgh for a while.
He's kind of like good or something. I don't know.
Yeah, he's really good. But yeah, that'll certainly be interesting. Catch that race if you can somehow, some way. It'll be awesome. It's the Daytona 500 for the Pro Stocks.
Basically, yeah.
It'll be a great race to watch. I want to talk about Dog Hollow a little bit. Dog Hollow has braved the weather, the rough weather that we've had so far, and they've been able to log 2 races. I don't know if the second night that they got all of their races in. I thought I saw them post something that they stopped and had to make up 2 features or something. But
sometimes I can't tell with them on their Facebook. I
mean, we can just come out and say right now that Dog Hollow's social media is a little interesting, but they get the job done. That's
maybe
true.
they don't get the rain down there in the hollow,
No, and you know what? Maybe that's just how it is for them. They don't got to deal with all this other stuff that all these other tracks are worrying about. So far, talking about mainly the Pro Stock division. Penn Ohio driver, I don't know if he's in touring this year or not, but Chase Lambert, 2 for 2 at Dog Hollow. He's won both the Pro Stock features that have been there so far. The one he won, the first being his first career victory. Really, really cool to see that. And then he followed it up with another win at Dog Hollow. It's really cool. Dog Hollow, I honestly don't even remember the last time I was
going to
there.
say, have you ever been there?
I think I've been there, but I do not remember when I was there. It has been a while. I would like to go check it out again. I think it would be interesting. Do they have 4 divisions regularly, or do they have more? Because I swear on this,
I want to say 4, but they rotate the 4th.
Yeah.
So like they have 5, but they rotate the 4th.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. Like they rotate Penn Ohio and something else.
Yeah. Well, and if Chase Lambert's already scored 2 victories at Dog Hollow, are they a sanctioning track for the weekly series of Penn Ohio?
I believe so. I'm pretty sure they were last year at least.
If that's the case, which we don't know for sure, but if that's the case, it's something that we'll probably have to keep an eye on as we kind of watch the weekly standings as they start to develop, as we start to get some more racing in and kind of the transfer off of that. Lernerville did get a night in. And as far as the Pro Stock goes, they had a great showing of Pro Stocks there. And it was won by Brett Hutera. And I would go as far as saying I don't want to be biased or anything. I don't want to, sound, I mean, obviously I have confidence in the people around me. Brett Hutera is my pick to do some damage this year in the Pro Stock.
The year of Brett Hutera is upon us.
Brett Hutera telling you, I think can do some damage this year. And he's starting off great with a win at Lernerville.
His first Lernerville win.
Right. Yeah. And I didn't see the race. I don't have the, I don't really, I wasn't there, so I don't know anything about it. But certainly really, really cool that he was able to snag a win early in the year. He's a guy to watch out for. 100% a guy to watch out for. And hope maybe he'll get back to Lernerville this Friday and maybe follow it up in the Pro Stock division. But I don't know who all attended that night. I wish I had the results in front of me.
I'm
But
trying to think of who all was on like the podium, but I can't think of it off the top of my head.
I would
I want
say,
to say they had 18 cars,
yeah,
something
they
like
had
that.
a decent showing, which is always good to see. And the Tri-City had canceled that night, and so I don't know if that made any guys switch it up and go there, but Lernerville is just happen at some point throughout the year. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely a guy to keep an eye on. I don't know. Do you have any other guys who you're kind of looking at that are guys to watch for weekly this year, or maybe even touring?
I don't know. We kind of shouted that out before earlier in the year, but
Yeah, we did a slight thing, but it's like,
I mean, I mentioned like Cody Catalis.
yeah.
I don't know. It's just hard. It's hard, especially with the pro stocks. I mean, this time of year, it's still early. We don't have a lot of races, and you don't know who's all racing and how often.
Well,
What tracks.
let's face it, Andrew Hammond was our points leader when he didn't have a pro stock anymore for like 5 weeks last year.
Where's he at in the point standings? We haven't checked. We have not checked.
I have no idea.
Dude,
but-
he's probably still 12th.
He probably is.
Got to get his 12 races in.
He'll run them. He'll just like walk them or something.
Put a nose on the car.
Right. That'll be cool. I'm curious to see how full season or whatever. What is he doing? What is the division?
I don't know if he's an E-mod or an Econo mod or
right.
modified of some sort.
Yeah. I don't know. That'll be interesting. Certainly sad to not see him in the pro stocks though, because he was an up and comer for sure. Yeah, I mean, I think you could definitely say it's just about the two guys that we discussed right there. Watch out for both these guys. I mean, if Dog Hall is a sanctioning body track, then right away you have a guy with 2 wins sitting on top of your weekly standings. So that's certainly good thing. And that'll, even if he doesn't win another race this year, that's going to help his points if he stays consistent, which Chase Lambert's always kind of been consistent. So we'll see what he, kind of goes around doing. And then Brett Hutera, man, I think we could see some special stuff out of him this year. So we'll have to get him on the podcast. Just, do we have anything else to talk about?
Really, I mean, we crossed off everything on my list. I mean, we kind of touched on upcoming events. We talked about the Ed Laboon, so that was kind of the main thing that figured we would touch on. So
yeah. Well, I'm going on vacation, so you're not going to get a video next week. So by the time you're seeing this, I think it's Thursday, probably. I think is where we're putting this out. So
better be Thursday.
Yeah, it'll be
It's
Thursday.
not Thursday. It's on Jake.
I'm fired.
Yeah, we got a problem.
But we'll try to get some more stuff planned. I've just loved doing the interviews so far. The interviews have been great. We've done some awesome interviews so far to start this year. I mean, we're recording this on Tuesday. Samantha Priest episode just aired a couple hours ago. That's awesome. I mean, we've seen Greg Wheeling, we've seen Samantha Priest, we've seen Tyler Beichner, and then we saw who was our first
Cameron Miller.
That's right, Cameron Miller. That guy, and he's a cool
Yeah, and
dog.
if you guys want to see more episodes like this, like these half and halves, we'll probably do more of these throughout the season. These more like 20 minutes and 20 minutes or 20 minutes and 30 minutes or whatever they end up being,
Yeah.
And we don't know what we're going to call them yet, so.
Yeah, I have no idea. We'll probably come up with some corny name that just has LTD in front of it, so we'll figure that out once it comes out. We don't have that much time to do so. But yeah, let us know too about maybe guests you'd want to see. The guests have been great, just seeing the variety that we've had in so far. So we'll definitely bring some more people to talk about. But yeah, we probably won't see a video like this till we get some more racing in. So it'll be pretty soon, I guess, because we're going to start racing this weekend because the weather is.
Yeah, we'll probably be off next week and then probably hopefully back on for this past weekend the week after that.
Yeah, and then go from there. Try to see what else we can conjure up. So race season will be in full effect by then, hopefully. It will be.
Better be. We blessed the skies.
We had consider the skies blessed. All right, if you stuck around this long, thanks for watching.
Here's
the
a cookie.
podcast. Yeah, seriously. I hope you enjoyed this style of video, and we'll probably keep doing them. So thank you for watching. Hit the like and subscribe button. We're really close to 100 subscribers. Still don't know what we're doing yet for 100 subs.
Jumping in the Sharon Pond.
We're not jumping into Sharon Pond. There's no way.
Yep.
But yeah, get us to 100 subs, like the video, and yeah, and engage with our social media, like all our pages and stuff, because it gets us more recognition. And that's good because we like talking about racing. So we want to reach as many people as we can. But thank you for watching. We'll see you guys at some point. We'll be back.